Junho Kim stared at the broken control panel in front of him. Sparks flew from the cracked screen, and strange alien symbols blinked red across the display. He hit the side of the machine with his fist, just like he used to do with old computers, back on Earth. Nothing happened. "Still broken?" asked Hannah Park, walking over with a toolkit in her hands. Her short black hair was tied back, and oil stains covered her blue training uniform. She had been trying to fix their team's equipment. "For the past hour, completely dead," Junho said. He kicked the metal base of the control panel. "I don't understand why they give us the oldest stuff in the academy. Look at what the Velkari cadets get." Across the training room, tall reptilian aliens worked with shiny new equipment. Their scales gleamed under the bright lights, and their yellow eyes focused on holographic displays that showed perfect images. Everything they touched seemed to work perfectly. Dae-sung Lee jogged over to them, breathing hard. His face was red from running around the training area. "The instructors say we start the simulation in 10 minutes. Are we ready?" "Ready?" Hannah laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Half our gear doesn't work, and the other half is older than my grandmother. But sure, we're ready to fail again." Mi Young Choi appeared beside them, carrying medical supplies. She was older than the others and always seemed calm, even when things went wrong. "The other teams are already in position. I saw the Thoric cadets setting up their weapons. Those big insects look scary." "Everything here looks scary," said Woo Jin Yoon, the youngest of their group. He held a helmet that was too big for his head. "I still can't believe we're actually here, training with aliens from across the galaxy." Junho looked around the massive training facility. The ceiling stretched so high he couldn't see the top. Strange alien writing covered the walls, and machines he didn't understand hummed and beeped everywhere. 6 months ago, he had been a regular student in Seoul. Now he was on a space station called Nexus Prime, learning to fight alongside creatures from other worlds. Humans were the newest members of the Galactic Defense Coalition. Most of the alien species thought humans were too primitive to be real soldiers. They gave human cadets the worst equipment and the hardest training schedules. The instructors always seemed surprised when humans could do anything right. "Listen," Junho said to his team. "I know our stuff is old and broken, but we're still here. We made it this far. Let's show them that humans can fight." And loud alarm rang through the training area. A voice spoke in the alien language that sounded like clicking and hissing. Then it repeated in English. "All cadets report to assigned positions. Training simulation begins in 5 minutes." The 5 friends grabbed their equipment and ran to their starting area. It was a small metal room with thick walls and one door. Their mission was simple: work as a team to fight through enemy forces and reach the other side of the training area. The enemies would be holograms, but they could still hurt if the cadets made mistakes. "Remember the plan," Junho said as they checked their weapons. "Woo Jin scouts ahead. Dae-sung watches our communications. Mi Young keeps us healthy. Hana fixes anything that breaks, and I try to keep us all alive." "What if the equipment breaks again?" Hana asked, looking at her toolkit. "Then you fix it," Junho said. "You always do." The countdown began. 3, 2, 1, simulation starts now. The door slid open and they moved out carefully. The training area had been changed to look like a destroyed city. Broken buildings rose around them, and smoke made it hard to see very far. Red lights flashed, and sounds of distant explosions echoed through the space. They moved forward slowly. Woo Jin used his scanner to look for enemies, but the device kept making strange noises. "I think something's wrong with this," he whispered. "Everything's wrong with our equipment," Hana muttered. Suddenly, Junho saw movement ahead. 3 tall figures in dark armor stepped out from behind a broken wall. But something was different. These enemies looked too real, too detailed. The holograms in previous training sessions had always seemed a bit fuzzy around the edges. "Contact front," he whispered into his communication device. But instead of the usual clear signal, he heard only static and strange voices speaking in alien languages. The armored figures raised their weapons. Bright energy blasts shot toward the human cadets. Junho dove to the side, pulling Mi-young with him. The energy blast hit the wall behind them, and chunks of real metal flew everywhere. "That wasn't supposed to happen," Mi-young said, touching a small cut on her arm where a metal piece had hit her. "Holograms can't do real damage." Daesung was working frantically with his communication equipment. "I'm picking up real military signals," he said, his voice tight with worry. "These aren't training frequencies. These are actual combat channels." More armored figures appeared from different directions. They moved with the smooth, deadly grace that Junho had seen in videos of real Valkyrie soldiers. Their weapons hummed with energy, and their yellow eyes glowed behind their helmet visors. "I don't think we're in a simulation anymore," Hana said, her hands shaking as she tried to get her scanner to work properly. Wu Jin pointed to one of the enemies. "Look at their armor. It has battle damage, scratches, and wear marks. The training? Holograms never have details like that." The realization hit them all at the same time. Something had gone very wrong with the training system. Instead of fighting pretend enemies, they were facing real Valkyrie soldiers with real weapons in what had become a real battle. "What do we do?" Mi-young asked, pressing herself against the wall as more energy blasts flew over their heads. Junho looked at his team. They were just students, barely trained with broken equipment and no experience. The Valkyrie soldiers advancing on them were professionals who had fought real wars across the galaxy. But they were still here, still alive, and still together. "We fight," he said. "We're humans. We figure things out as we go." He grabbed his weapon, checked that it was set to full power, and prepared to show the galaxy what human cadets could do when everything went wrong. The first Valkyrie soldier fell when Junho's energy blast hit him center mass. But instead of disappearing like a hologram should, the reptilian warrior dropped to the ground with a heavy thud. Dark green blood pooled around his still body. "Oh, no," Mi-young whispered, staring at the fallen alien. "We just killed someone." "They're shooting real weapons at us," Hana said, her voice shaking. "Look at the wall behind us. Those burn marks are real." More Valkyrie soldiers appeared from the smoke. Their leader, a massive reptile with silver markings on his dark armor, hissed orders in their alien language. Junho couldn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. These aliens were angry. Daesung pressed buttons on his communication device, trying to reach the academy instructors. "Mayday, Mayday. This is Human Training Team 7. We have a real combat situation in Training Area 12. Request immediate assistance." Only static answered him. "The Academy's emergency systems should have kicked in by now," Wu Jin said, looking around nervously. "Why hasn't anyone stopped this?" "Maybe they can't," Junho said. "Maybe whatever broke our equipment also broke their safety systems." The Valkyrie leader pointed at them and said something that sounded like a growl. 3 more soldiers moved to surround the humans from different angles. Their yellow eyes studied the human cadets like predators watching prey. "They're not taking us seriously," Hana observed. Look how slowly they're moving. They think we're easy targets. She was right. The Velkari soldiers approached without much caution. One of them even lowered his weapon slightly, as if he was dealing with children who had wandered into the wrong place. Good, Junho said quietly. Let them think that. He motioned for his team to spread out. They had practiced this movement many times in their basic training, but never in a real fight. Mi Young moved left, Wu Jin went right, and Hana started, working on a broken piece of training equipment. What are you doing? Dae-sung asked her. Making something useful, she said, pulling wires from the machine. This gravity lift is damaged, but I can still use its power source. The Velkari soldiers continued their slow advance. Their leader called out in broken English, "Human younglings, surrender now. You are not supposed to be here. We will not harm you if you drop weapons." Younglings? Wu Jin said, anger flashing in his eyes. We're cadets in the Galactic Defense Coalition. We have every right to be here. You are babies playing with toys, the Velkari leader replied. Real soldiers are training here. Go back to your lessons. That made Junho angry too. For 6 months, every alien species had treated humans like they were too stupid and primitive to be real soldiers. Even now, facing armed humans in a combat situation, the Velkari couldn't believe they were dealing with actual opponents. Hana, how much longer? He called out. 30 seconds, she replied, her hands working quickly with the wires and power cells. The Velkari soldiers were only 20 meters away now, close enough to see the details of their reptilian faces behind their helmet visors. Their skin was dark green with lighter patches, and their eyes moved independently like a chameleon's. Up close, they looked even more dangerous. Now would be good, Mi Young said, raising her medical scanner. She had modified it to detect body heat, and it was showing her exactly where each enemy soldier was positioned. Ready, Hana announced. Do it, Junho ordered. Hana activated her improvised device. The gravity lift's power source overloaded. In a controlled explosion that sent a shower of sparks and metal fragments flying toward the Velkari soldiers. It wasn't enough to seriously hurt them, but it surprised them and made them duck for cover. In that moment of confusion, the humans attacked. Wu Jin used his youth and speed to sprint behind a pile of debris, getting a clear shot at one soldier's back. Mi Young used her heat scanner to target another soldier who was hiding behind a wall, hitting him through a gap he didn't know existed. Dae-sung finally got his communication device working and began intercepting the Velkari's radio signals, learning their battle language in real time. But it was Junho who shocked them the most. Instead of staying in cover like a normal soldier would, he ran straight at the Velkari leader while shouting at the top of his lungs. It was such an unexpected and seemingly stupid move that the reptilian warrior hesitated for just a moment. That moment was enough. Junho tackled the much larger alien around the waist, and they both went down. The Velkari leader was stronger, but Junho fought dirty, using his elbows and knees in ways that no military academy taught. What? What are you doing? The Velkari leader hissed in confusion as they wrestled on the ground. Winning, Junho grunted, managing to grab the alien's weapon. The other Velkari soldiers stopped shooting, afraid of hitting their leader. That gave the rest of the human team time to move to better positions. When Junho finally rolled away from the alien leader, all 5 humans had clear shots at the remaining enemies. Surrender! Junho called out, pointing the captured weapon. At the Velkari leader, the reptilian soldiers looked at each other in confusion. Their leader lay on the ground, his weapon in the hands of a human cadet who should have been easy to defeat. None of their training had prepared them for enemies who fought in such strange and unpredictable ways. "This is impossible," one of the soldiers said in English. "You are just students. We are veteran warriors." "You're veterans who fight the same way every time," Dae-sung said, having decoded enough of their language to understand their tactical communications. "We heard all your plans through your radio channels." "You cannot understand our battle language," the Velkari leader protested. "We have been speaking it for centuries." "We've been listening to it for 10 minutes, Dae-sung replied. "Humans are good at learning languages quickly." More sounds came from deeper in the training area, heavy footsteps and the buzz of different weapons. Through the smoke, new shapes appeared. These weren't Velkari. They were taller, with multiple arms and insect-like heads. Thoric Federation soldiers drawn by the sounds of battle. "Oh no," Mi-young said. "Now we have 2 alien armies to deal with." The Velkari leader looked up at Junho with something like respect in his yellow eyes. "You fight strangely, human cadet, but you fight well. These Thoric warriors coming toward us are our enemies too in this training exercise. Perhaps we should work together." "No deals," Junho said firmly. "You started this fight. We're going to finish it our way." He looked at his team. They were tired, scared, and still outnumbered, but they had just defeated their first group of alien soldiers using nothing but human creativity and teamwork. "Ready for round 2? He asked them. 4 determined faces looked back at him. Hana was already working on another improvised device. Dae-sung was intercepting Thoric communications. Mi-young was treating a small wound on Woo Jin's arm while keeping watch for more enemies. They were ready. The Thoric soldiers moved through the smoke like giant, deadly insects. Each one stood nearly 3 meters tall, with 4 arms that could hold weapons independently. Their chitinous armor gleamed black and purple under the training area's lights. Unlike the Velkari, who moved as individual fighters, the Thoric warriors moved as one unit, like parts of a single mind. "They're coordinating perfectly," Dae-sung observed, listening to their communications. "But it's weird. They're not talking to each other. It's like they share thoughts." "Hive mind," Mi-young said, recognizing the concept from her xenobiology classes. "They think as a group. That makes them very predictable but also very dangerous." Junho watched the approaching Thoric forces. 6 soldiers advanced in a perfect formation, their multiple arms holding different weapons. Plasma rifles, energy shields, and strange devices he didn't recognize. Behind them, more soldiers provided cover with heavy weapons that could probably blow holes through the training area's walls. "The Velkari we captured," Junho said, looking down at the reptilian leader who was still on the ground. "What were you really doing here?" "Advanced combat training," the Velkari leader admitted. "We were testing new weapons against Thoric forces. This was supposed to be a controlled exercise between our best soldiers. So when our training simulation started, it mixed with your exercise?" Hana asked. "The Academy's training systems must have connected our scenarios," the Velkari leader explained. "But you humans were never supposed to be part of this. The safety protocols should have prevented it." Woo Jin pointed to an observation window high above them. "Look up there." Through the reinforced glass, they could see figures watching them. Not just instructors, but aliens from many different species. Word was spreading through the academy that something unusual was happening in Training Area 12. "Great," Junho muttered. "Now we have an audience." The first Thoric soldier reached their position. Its 4 arms moved independently, firing plasma bolts while maintaining an energy shield and reloading weapons. The coordination was perfect and terrifying. But Hana was ready. She had been working on her second improvised device while they talked. This time, she had combined parts from 3 different broken machines to create something completely new. "What does it do?" Wu Jin asked. "I have no idea," Hana admitted, "but it uses a lot of power and makes interesting sounds." She activated the device. It began humming loudly and projecting strange energy patterns into the air. The patterns looked random to human eyes, but they had an immediate effect on the Thoric soldiers. The insect-like warriors stopped moving. Their perfect coordination fell apart as they began making confused clicking sounds. Some of them fired their weapons in wrong directions. Others lowered their shields completely. "What did you do to them?" the Velkari leader asked in amazement. "I think I'm interfering with their hive-mind connection," Hana said, looking surprised at her own success. "These energy patterns must be confusing their shared thoughts." Dae Sung was monitoring multiple communication channels now. "The Academy. Security is trying to shut down the training area, but they can't override the systems. Whatever happened when our simulation started has locked them out of their own controls." "So nobody can stop this until it's finished?" Mi Young asked. "Nobody except us," Junho said. The confused Thoric soldiers were reorganizing themselves, adapting to the interference from Hana's device. Their individual intelligence was taking over from their hive mind, making them more unpredictable but also more dangerous. One of the Thoric warriors charged directly at them, its 4 arms spinning, weapons like a deadly windmill. Wu Jin tried to dodge, but the alien was too fast. The young pilot would have been cut down if Mi Young hadn't tackled him out of the way. "We need a better plan," Mi Young said, helping Wu Jin to his feet. "We can't just improvise our way through everything." But improvisation was exactly what Junho had in mind. He looked around the training area, seeing not obstacles but opportunities. The broken buildings, the scattered equipment, the terrain itself could all be used as weapons. "Dae Sung, can you access the training area's environmental controls?" "Maybe," Dae Sung said, working with his communication device. "The systems are confused, but they're still responding to some commands. Change the gravity in Section 3. Make it stronger." "How much stronger?" "A lot stronger." While Dae Sung worked on the environmental controls, Junho explained his plan to the others. It was risky and required perfect timing, but it might be their only chance against the superior alien forces. "The observation windows," he said. "All those aliens watching us. They're learning from how we fight. Every species in the galaxy will study what happens here today." "Is that good or bad?" Wu Jin asked. "Depends on whether we win or lose." The gravity in Section 3 suddenly increased. The Thoric soldiers caught in that area stumbled as their bodies became much heavier. Their coordinated movements became clumsy and slow. But they were adapting quickly, using their 4 arms to brace themselves and continue fighting. "Phase 2, Junho called out. Mi Young activated smoke grenades she had taken from the medical supplies. The training area filled with thick, choking clouds that made it impossible to see more than a few meters. The Thoric soldiers' advanced sensors could penetrate the smoke, but their coordination was already disrupted by Hana's device. In the confusion, Wu Jin put his pilot training to use. He climbed onto a broken piece of equipment and used it like a launching platform, jumping from obstacle to obstacle above the battlefield. From his elevated position, he could see the enemy movements and direct his teammates' attacks. The Velkari. Soldiers who had been defeated earlier watched in amazement as the 5 human cadets fought in ways that no military academy taught. They used emotion, creativity, and pure stubbornness as weapons just as much as their energy rifles. Your species is very strange, the Velkari leader said to Junho during a brief lull in the fighting. We know, Junho replied. Everyone keeps telling us that. It is not meant as criticism. Strange can be effective. More Thoric soldiers were arriving, bringing heavier weapons and better sensors that could see through the smoke. The humans' improvised tactics had worked against the first wave, but now they faced enemies who were adapting to their strategies. We're running out of tricks, Hana admitted, her latest device sparking and smoking from overuse. Then we'll have to come up with new ones, Junho said. Above them, the observation windows were now crowded with aliens from dozens of different species. Academy instructors, military observers, and curious students all watched as 5 human cadets continued to fight against impossible odds. Whatever happens next, Mi-young said, checking her medical supplies, the whole galaxy is going to see it. Junho looked at his team. They were exhausted, running low on equipment and facing enemies with superior technology and training. But they were still standing, still fighting, and still refusing to give up. That was very human of them. The sound started small, just a humming from Dae-sung's communication device. But as he adjusted the frequency, it grew louder and stranger. He was broadcasting human music through the training area's speaker system. What are you doing? Wu Jin asked, ducking as another plasma bolt flew over his head. Psychological warfare, Dae-sung replied, his fingers dancing over the controls. If their hive mind is already disrupted, maybe this will confuse them even more. The music was an old Korean pop song from Earth, full of electronic beats and unexpected rhythm changes. To human ears, it was catchy and energetic. To the Thoric soldiers, it was completely alien and disturbing. The insect-like warriors began clicking their mandibles in distress. Their perfect formations wavered as individual soldiers reacted differently to the strange sounds. Some covered their audio sensors, others fired randomly in all directions. It's working, Mi-young said in amazement. They can't handle sounds that don't follow their logical patterns. Hana had moved to a pile of broken training equipment and was building something new. This time she wasn't trying to create a weapon. She was making a signal amplifier to boost Dae-sung's psychological attack. I need 5 more minutes, she called out, dodging energy blasts as she worked. We might not have 5 minutes, Junho replied, seeing more Thoric reinforcements arriving through the smoke. The Velkari leader, still under guard but no longer considered an immediate threat, watched the human tactics with growing fascination. Your species fights with chaos, he observed. This goes against all military doctrine. Human military doctrine is different, Junho said, helping Mi-young drag an injured Wu Jin to better cover. We adapt to whatever situation we're in. But adaptation takes time. How do you adapt so quickly? We don't think about it too much, Junho admitted. We just do what feels right. The Velkari leader's yellow eyes widened. You make tactical decisions based on emotion? That should be impossible. Above them, the observation windows were now packed with alien spectators. Academy Command had sent representatives from every species in the Galactic Defense Coalition. Some were taking notes, others were arguing loudly about what they were witnessing. A new voice came over the training area's communication system. It spoke in the formal tone used for official Academy announcements. This is Admiral Kethvar of Academy Command. All combatants in Training Area 12 will cease hostilities immediately. This is a direct order. The Thoric soldiers paused. Their weapons still ready but no longer firing. The Velkari forces looked to their leader for guidance. But the 5 human cadets continued moving, continued fighting. Did you hear the order? the Velkari leader asked Junho. We heard it, Junho replied, but we're not stopping. You must obey Academy command. Academy command put us in this situation, Mi-young said, treating a burn on her arm. Their safety systems failed. Their training programs malfunctioned. Why should we trust their orders now? The Thoric soldiers were recovering from the musical attack, but Hana's amplifier was almost ready. Dae-sung had found more human music in the Academy's cultural database and was preparing to broadcast everything from classical symphonies to heavy metal rock. Besides, Wu Jin added, testing his injured leg, stopping now would be surrendering. Humans don't surrender. Everyone surrenders sometimes, the Velkari leader protested. Not when the whole galaxy is watching, Junho said, pointing to the crowded observation windows. If we give up now, every alien species will think humans are weak. We can't let that happen. Admiral Kethvar's voice returned, sounding more annoyed. Human cadets, you are ordered to stand down. Your safety cannot be guaranteed if you continue this exercise. Our safety was never guaranteed, Dae-sung called back through his communication device. We've been dealing with broken equipment and impossible situations since we got here. Nothing new about that. Hana activated her amplifier just as Dae-sung began broadcasting a symphony orchestra mixed with electronic dance music and traditional Korean drums. The combination of sounds was beautiful to human ears, but completely chaotic to alien minds that preferred logical, structured audio patterns. The effect on the Thoric soldiers was immediate and dramatic. Their hive-mind connection, already damaged by the earlier interference, completely collapsed. Individual warriors began behaving independently, some retreating, others attacking their own allies in confusion. But the humans' victory music had an unexpected effect on the Velkari soldiers, too. Instead of confusing them, it seemed to energize them. The reptilian warriors began moving with more purpose, their yellow eyes brightening. Your battle songs are inspiring, the Velkari leader said with surprise. They make us want to fight alongside you, not against you. That's the idea, Junho said. Music brings people together. We are not people. We are Velkari. Right now, you're just soldiers in the same fight we are. The Velkari leader considered this. He looked at his defeated troops, then at the confused Thoric forces, then at the 5 human cadets who had somehow turned a training disaster into a tactical victory. If I ordered my soldiers to fight with you instead of against you, would you accept our help? Junho looked at his team. They were exhausted, running out of ammunition and facing fresh enemy reinforcements. Pride said they should finish this. Fight alone. Practicality said they needed all the help they could get. Can we trust you? Mi-young asked. You defeated us fairly, the Velkari leader replied. In our culture, that gives you the right to command us in battle. It is our way. Then yes, Junho decided. We'll fight together. The Velkari leader hissed orders to his soldiers in their native language. The reptilian warriors immediately took defensive positions around the humans, their weapons aimed at the remaining Thoric forces. Admiral Kethvar's voice came over the speakers again, but this time it sounded different. Less commanding, more curious. This is unprecedented. Combat forces from different species coordinating without prior alliance agreements. Academy analysts are requesting permission to continue observing. Permission denied, Junho called back. This isn't a show, this is a fight. But he was wrong about that. Every alien species in the galaxy would be studying recordings of this battle for years to come. 5 human cadets had just changed the way the entire galaxy thought about warfare, cooperation, and the potential of supposedly primitive species. The final wave of Thoric soldiers was approaching, bringing their heaviest weapons and their most experienced commanders. But now they faced not just 5 human cadets, but a combined human Velkari force united by mutual respect and a shared love of impossible victories. "Ready for the final round?" Junho asked his expanded team. 9 voices answered him, 5 human and 4 Velkari, all determined to prove that sometimes the best military strategy was simply refusing to lose. The final Thoric assault came with everything they had left: heavy plasma cannons that could melt through steel, energy shields that deflected most weapons, and their most experienced warriors leading the charge. But the insect-like soldiers moved differently now, more carefully, because they had learned to respect their human opponents. Junho crouched behind a barrier with the Velkari leader, whose name was Commander Vextar. Strange to think that an hour ago they had been trying to kill each other. Now they were planning strategy together. "Their heavy weapons are the real threat," Vextar said, pointing to the massive cannons the Thoric forces were setting up. "If they establish firing positions, they can destroy this entire area." "Then we don't let them set up," Junho replied. "Hana, how's our surprise coming along?" Hana looked up from the complex device she had been building from pieces of broken training equipment. "Almost ready, but I'm not sure what it's going to do. I'm combining technologies from 3 different species in ways they were never designed for." "That sounds perfectly human," Mi Young said, applying medical patches to wounded Velkari soldiers. She had discovered that her human medical training worked on reptilian biology too, with some creative modifications. Dae-sung was coordinating communications between the human and Velkari forces while simultaneously jamming Thoric battle frequencies. "Their commanders are getting frustrated," he reported. "They keep trying to re-establish hive-mind coordination, but our music is still interfering." "Keep playing it," Junho ordered. "If it's working, don't stop." The observation windows above them were now crowded with so many alien spectators that Academy security had to control access. Representatives from the Galactic Defense Coalition's highest levels were present, including some species that rarely left their homeworlds. "No pressure," Wu Jin muttered, checking his weapon's power level. "Actually, lots of pressure," Junho said. "But that's when humans work best." The Thoric final assault began with a bombardment from their heavy weapons. Energy beams carved through the training area's obstacles like they were made of paper. The combined human Velkari force had to keep moving, never staying in one position for more than a few seconds, but movement was exactly what Junho had planned for. While the Thoric soldiers focused on their devastating ranged attack, the humans and their Velkari allies used speed and unpredictability to close the distance. "Now, Hana!" Junho shouted. Hana activated her multi-species device. Instead of the controlled effects her previous inventions had produced, this one created complete chaos. Gravity fluctuated wildly in random areas. Electronic systems throughout the training area began displaying impossible readings. The air itself seemed to shimmer with energy patterns that hurt to look at. "What is that thing?" Vextar asked in amazement. "A combination of human creativity, Velkari power systems, and Thoric shield generators," Hana explained. "It shouldn't work at all, but somehow it does." The effect on the Thoric forces was devastating. Their heavy weapons couldn't maintain target locks in the fluctuating gravity. Their coordination fell apart completely as the energy patterns interfered with every form of communication they had. but the device affected everyone in the training area. Human and Velkari soldiers found themselves floating in zero gravity one moment and pressed to the ground by triple gravity the next. "This is insane," Mi Young called out, using her medical knowledge to help everyone adapt to the constantly changing conditions. "Insanely effective," Junho replied, pushing forward through a gravity wave that made him feel like he weighed nothing at all. The Thoric commander, a massive insect warrior with elaborate markings on his chitinous armor, raised his weapon in what looked like a signal to surrender. But instead of giving up, he activated something on his battlesuit that created a localized field of stable gravity around his position. "Clever," Vexitar admitted. "He's adapting to the chaos by creating order in a small area." "Then we adapt too," Junho said. "That's what humans do." But before anyone could react, the Thoric commander did something unexpected. He began to laugh. It was a strange sound, like metal scraping against stone, but definitely laughter. "Enough," the Thoric commander called out in perfect English. "This battle has become too interesting to continue as mere training." He gestured for his remaining soldiers to lower their weapons. One by one, the Thoric forces stopped fighting and stood at attention. "I am War Commander Zaketh of the Thoric Federation," the insect leader announced. "In 3 decades of military service, I have never encountered opponents who fight with such creative chaos. You have earned our respect." The training area fell silent except for the humming of Hana's reality-bending device. Human and Velkari soldiers stared at their Thoric opponents, hardly believing what they were hearing. "You're surrendering?" Wu Jin asked. "We are recognizing superior tactics," War Commander Zakth replied. "Your species has demonstrated capabilities that our military analysts never predicted. To continue this fight would serve no purpose except to study your methods further." Admiral Kethvar's voice came over the communication system again. "All forces in Training Area 12, report status immediately." "Training exercise complete," Junho called back. "Objectives achieved." What objectives? This was supposed to be a basic cadet simulation. Objective 1, survive unexpected combat situation. Objective 2, demonstrate human military potential. Objective 3, establish cooperative relationships with allied forces. Junho looked around at the mixed group of humans, Velkari, and Thoric soldiers. All objectives completed successfully. There was a long pause before Admiral Kethvar responded. "Academy Command requests immediate debriefing from all participants. This incident will require extensive analysis." Hana finally shut down her impossible device, and normal gravity returned to the training area. The 5 human cadets stood together, their uniforms torn and dirty, their equipment barely functional, but still standing. "So what happens now?" Mi Young asked. "Now we find out if the galaxy thinks humans are ready to be real soldiers," Junho replied. Commander Vexitar approached them, moving with the formal dignity his species used for important ceremonies. "On behalf of the Velkari Empire, I formally request that human tactical methods be included in our joint training programs. Your species has much to teach us about adaptability in combat." War Commander Zakth clicked his mandibles in agreement. "The Thoric Federation concurs. Human creativity in warfare is disturbing but effective. We wish to learn these methods." The doors to the training area finally opened, and Academy officials rushed in. Medical teams, technical analysts, and high-ranking officers from multiple species all wanted to examine what had happened. But the 5 Korean cadets just sat down on a pile of debris and started laughing. They had survived their first real battle, turned enemies into allies, and somehow impressed the entire galaxy while using broken equipment and improvised tactics. "Do you think they'll give us better equipment now?" Wu Jin asked. "Probably," Hana said, "but I kinda like building my own." "They'll definitely give us harder training," Dae-sung added. "Good," said Mi-young. "We're just getting started." Jun-ho looked up at the observation windows where aliens from dozens of species were still watching them with new respect and curiosity. 6 months ago, humans had been the newest and most primitive members of the Galactic Defense Coalition. Today, they had become teachers. "Ready for whatever comes next?" he asked his team. 4 confident voices answered him. They were ready for anything the galaxy could throw at them. After all, they were human. They figured things out as they went.